I'm just trying to understand, like, in the wildest dreams of this coaching staff, when you go back, when you first came here all those years ago, like, you envisioned it being good. I'm sure everybody envisioned it being good, and anytime you build anything, you want it to progressively get better. But, I mean, dear Lord, #1 for the second time.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I think it's a byproduct of having a great process, doing things the right way, and building things over time. You know, I mean, I think you look at, you know, whether it was Duke or UCLA. I mean, I think that what's the legendary story about Coach Wooden? It took him 14 years to win his first national title or something like that. And then I just think it takes time. It takes time to build something of this stature, you know, and if you're going to do it right and consistently and sustain it, you know, it's the product of doing the right things over a long period of time.
And is there a ceiling,
Tom? You know, I mean, I think,
can this be as good as Duke? Or
yeah, for sure,
Kentucky or
100%,
UCLA?
100%. There's no doubt in my mind that it can be like that. I mean, I think we're proving that now. You know, we might be doing it a little bit of a different way than they do it. You know, I mean, with the way they recruit, you know, it maybe is a little bit different than we do it, but you know, there's not only one way to be successful. And I think we've gotten to a level that, you know, hopefully year in and year out, we can, you know, be competing with the top teams in the country.
Let's talk about recruiting in Europe, right? And I know you've talked ad nauseum about your work in Europe, but I'm going to make you talk about it some more. Here, there's AAU, there's rating services, how do you find the talent over there? Break that down for us.
Well, what I like about it is, you know, you're finding out about most of the kids while they compete with their national teams. You know, so the kids are playing in meaningful games.
So it's visual, like you're actually
Yeah,
watching.
you're visual, you know, and then they're you know, they're playing in tournaments and you're getting video and you know, their scouting services. But again, most of the time, you know, these evaluations are done while these kids are playing for their national team. So when they're playing for their national team, it's not about showcasing anybody. It's about representing your country. So the kids play incredibly hard. For the most part, they're well coached. So I like watching kids compete, you know, under those circumstances, you know, as opposed to, you know, maybe being a part of an AAU program where, you know, you're just trying to feature one or two kids to, you know, accrue as many scholarship offers as you can for that kid. So, you know, I've always enjoyed the national team stuff.
And with the success of those players in this program, it's got to have gotten easier for, like, they know who Tom Lloyd is now. Can I call you Tom now?
No, only my mom.
Your mom. Okay, so they have to know when Tommy Lloyd shows up, right? I mean, you have to be a known entity. Gonzaga's a known entity.
Well, I mean, it's about Gonzaga. I mean,
Yeah.
and they know Gonzaga, you know, and then, you know, I'm a piece of Gonzaga, you know, so yeah, when we go over there, I think we have some credibility, you know, and I always tell people in recruiting, you know, I don't want to tell you about what we're going to do in the future. I'm going to show you what we've done and show you our track record. You know, I'm not going to sell you on a dream. I'm going to sell you on facts. And, you know, so I think when you have a track record over an extended period of time like we do, I think it's easy for some kids to envision themselves, you know, following the footsteps of, you know, Kelly Olynyk, Elias Harris, Ronny Turioff, you know, JP Batista. You know, it's more tangible.
Greasing the wheel, right? I mean, every year you got to grease the wheel of these teams and get them better before March. This program's done an amazing job of getting the peak at the right time. Well, this team is already off the charts good. So where's the oil go? Where's the grease going to go?
Well, it goes in accountability, in daily accountability. I mean, I'm watching, you know, the film of the BYU game, and I'm like, man, if we could just get a little bit better at passing in some of these ball screens, you know, where we're missing some opportunities, you know. And I mean, I think there's a great adage in coaching, you know. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say you're either coaching or you're accepting, you know. And so, you know, we're not going to accept, you know, guys not playing at their best, you know, mentally or physically. And so, you know, we're constantly coaching those things and trying to squeeze everything we can out of each individual, and, you know, with the mindset of becoming the best team we can possibly be.
Tommy, Shemek has got to be one of the best stories in the history of this run. When you look at where he was last year, and now he's come back, and he's having a tremendous senior year, isn't he? You got to be proud of him.
Well, I mean, I think he's had an amazing career,
Yeah.
you know, and I've had lots of talks with Shemek about it. I mean, I think you could argue that, you know, he's one of the most important players in the history of Gonzaga basketball. I mean, there's a reason, he's, it's not just him, but he's a part of, the winningest era in Gonzaga history, and I think he's the winningest individual player in the history of the program. He just does so many little things, and he's such an entity on the floor that other teams have to deal with, and takes so much pressure off guys. And I talked to Shimmick, he's not a guy that's making threes. He's not a guy that's, breaking guys down off mismatches, So it's hard for him statistically to dominate games and score 20 points a game. But I told him, I'm like, Shimmy, you're Rob Gronkowski, who is other teams have to deal with.
Yeah,
you're super talented. I said, but on 70% of Gronk's plays, he has to block and he has to do the dirty work. But that's what makes him great. He does it, and that's why you win, because he's extremely talented, but he does dirty work. And Shimmy's unbelievable.
I'm just disappointed you had to bring up a Patriot. On snowy days like this, cue the video of the snow. Like, how do you recruit? Like, do you bring recruits when it's like this, or is it like somebody read in a book that I was told before that it's always sunny in Spokane?
Well, it's not always sunny in Spokane, but you know what? When it's winter, it's basketball season.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
playing basketball here is special in this community. I mean, it's a basketball city. I mean, through and through. I mean, the support we get, from it's cool. I mean, I've had been my 18th year here. Going to the point now where I'm, dropping my kids off at school, and I remember when I first started here, I tried making a quick buck selling Gonzaga T-shirts and made some money because there were none around.
That's great.
And now, when you walk into these schools, I mean, 75% of the boys have Gonzaga shirts on.
Yeah.
So the community's amazing, and I think that guys want and yearn for that experience, that connection, and Spokane and Gonzaga offer that.
You're never leaving, are you?
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, this is home. It's definitely it's where I consider home, and it's where I envision myself living for a long, long time. I'm not a good prognosticator on the future, but
Sorry, Tom.
all things being considered, no, I'm very happy where I'm at.